the past simple and present perfect. What are these tenses and how do you use them correctly? My name's Michael Anton. I'm an English communication coach, and it's my goal to help you start speaking English confidently and become fluent. Both the past simple and present perfect are used to describe actions that happened in the past, but we use them in different situations. And if you're like most students, you're probably making mistakes with them without even knowing it. Now, before we start talking about how to use them, let's talk about how to form them. To form the past simple, it's actually quite easy. All you have to do is take the base of the verb and add ed to the end. For example, the past simple of learn is learned. The past simple of want is wanted. And the past simple of watch is watched. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to the past simple, there are so many verbs that are irregular, which means they don't follow this ed pattern. For example, the past simple of eat is ate. The past simple of do is did. And the past simple of make is made. These are all what we call irregular. Now, the only way to actually learn these irregular forms is, unfortunately, just to memorize them. But some of the most common verbs in English are actually irregular. So you'll see them very, very often, and you probably already know some. Since you'll hear these verbs very often, it actually won't be that difficult to learn and eventually memorize them. Okay, so we've talked about how to form the past simple. Now let's talk about how to form the present perfect. To form the present perfect, all we have to do is conjugate the verb to have and add the past participle. For example, let's look at the verb to do. The past participle of to do is done. So we take the subject, we conjugate have, and we add the past participle. I have done. You have done. He has done. Or we have done. Now let's conjugate the verb to see. The past participle of to see is seen. We would say, I have seen. You have seen. He, she, it has seen. So you can see it's actually quite simple to form the present perfect. Now, we've talked about how to form the past simple and present perfect, but before we talk about how to use them, don't forget to leave a like and let me know in the comments if you're finding this video useful. And of course, if you want to take your English to the next level, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more lessons. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok. My username on both is English at the Ready. With that said, let's get on with the video and talk about when to use the past simple and present perfect. There's actually a very, very simple rule. We use the past simple when we know exactly when the action happened. We have a specific point in time and we know exactly when this was. For example, yesterday I ate dinner at the restaurant. The action happened yesterday, we know exactly when, so we're going to use the past simple ate. Or I went to New York a week ago. We know exactly when this happened. It happened 1 week ago, so we're going to use the past simple of to go, which is went. I went to New York a week ago. And let's look at a couple more examples. Last year, I wanted to go on vacation, but I didn't have time. World War II ended in 1945. When we know the exact moment in time that an action happened, we're going to use the past simple. Now, we use the present perfect when we're talking generally about a past action, or we're talking about an action that happened more than one time. For example, I've been to London twice in my life. I have been is the present perfect, and we're using the present perfect because this action happened twice. It happened 2 times, it happened more than once, so we have to use the present perfect. I have been to London twice in my life. Or in the example, I've never seen that movie. We're going to use the present perfect, I have seen, because we're speaking generally about your whole life. Never in your whole life have you seen that movie. Present perfect. Now let's look at a couple final examples. I have told you many times. Present perfect, I have told. And we're going to use the present perfect because this action happened many times. It happened more than once. I have told you many times. So we need to use the present perfect. Or in the example sentence, have you ever eaten Italian food? We need to use the present perfect, have you eaten, because we're speaking generally about somebody's whole life. Have you ever in your whole life eaten Italian food? Okay, so we've talked about the past simple and present perfect. We've looked at how to form them, and we've talked about when to use both. Now remember, we use the past simple when we know exactly when a past action happened. But we use the present perfect when we're speaking generally about a past action or an action that happened more than once. This is a really common mistake, even for intermediate and sometimes advanced students. So I really hope that I could finally help you understand the difference so that you never make this mistake again. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like and comment. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, English at the Ready, for lessons on all things English. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok. My username on both is English at the Ready. I'll see you in the next lesson.